First, strip some wires. Homemade rust powder, cannibalized fireworks, slurry. Gotta dip it, make it a little bit spicier. Have a finished product. Hey all my critters, how y'all doing? Welcome back to your Critter Cage and welcome back to a new episode. In this episode, I want to show you how to make something that goes boom. And if you stick around till the end, I'll show you guys what those are going into. Anyway, let's turn you guys around and let's get started. I already got all the steps lined out right here. I'm just going to show you real quick. First, you gotta take and strip some wires. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see it, but I wound some nichrome wire, some 36 gauge nichrome wire around it. And then I made this mixture that's based off of a element makers video for the kind of like a flash powder. Then you just have to dip it, and then technically you could be done right there, but I like to ensure a little bit more, so I glue a little make and glue a little paper tube around it. And I got some rocket fuel mixed up with some extra stuff in it, make it a little bit spicier. And then we have a finished product. We just gotta crimp the end and glue it up, and we got a finished product. Let me go ahead and show you guys a little bit more detail how to do all this, and we'll get started on how to make these rocket igniters. Anyway, let's get after it. Okay everyone, the first step in all this is actually to make the pyro dip, and it's basically just a acetone base. I basically just make a kind of like a slurry or kind of like a thick stuff to dip the igniters in. And that is just two different types of gunpowder. There is pistol powder and shotgun powder. Pistol powder usually burns faster. Shotgun powder usually burns slower, so you got more time for the heat. And I got some homemade rust powder in there. I don't know how well that well that affects anything. And I got a few ingredients that I cannibalized from some fireworks. This, I don't know exactly what this is. I think this is just some like that star material. And then I got this, which is like a little propellant grain out of one of those little bottle rocket things. I'm not sure what this is, but it burns really fast, so I think it's some sort of like a sulfur nitrocellulose based material. But anyway, I got shavings of that in there. So basically you got to make your little slurry, and then you just gotta dip it. Usually I like to have it a little bit thinner to do the first couple of dips to make sure I get the pyrogen in all of the nooks and crannies, but for video this will be fine. You just want to dip it in there and swirl it around to make sure you get every little thing coated. And then there's always going to be a little bead on there. You kind of want to roll that around so it don't drip off, so that way you get more material on there. But anyway, let me go ahead and finish this one up, and then I'll bring you guys back when it's time to glue on the little paper thing, or I might just show you with this one and fill the igniter with some more pyrogen. I basically just use the potassium nitrate sugar rocket fuel. I kind of like the idea of using rocket fuel to light off rocket fuel, so that's what I do. Usually I just let these dry for a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and coat these a fair amount just so I can get a good amount of the pyro mixture on there. And I'll bring you guys back when I'm ready to fill this one, and I'll show you a little trick I like to do to make sure these things don't blow up. I'll catch back up with you guys in just a little bit. Okay, I lied. While this one is drying, I'll go ahead and show you guys me gluing on the paper tube for this one that I've already had prepared. Okay, first I'm going to tell you guys how to make the little paper tube. First you gotta find something that is smaller than the core of your rocket. This is just about 3/16, and I got a 1/4 inch core in my rocket. This is a little bit big, but it's better to fit more of the ignition mixture into it. Anyway, you basically just cut a strip of paper. Usually I like to go, because there's this electrical tape right here. I usually like to go about halfway down it and still have a little bit of room at the top. You guys can really see that very well. I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see that, but I like to have a little bit of room at the top and still be able to have a lot of glue surface on the tape. And a little trick with this stuff is to use thicker CA glue. This still isn't quite thick enough. This is like medium. I need the gel or something thick like that. I've been making it work either way. It just takes a little bit of finesse. So let me go ahead and glue this one onto it, and then we'll have two that we can prepare for the other one while it's drying. Anyway, let me go ahead and glue this on, and I'll take and start on this one. Gotta make sure that the little core is in the middle, or roughly in the middle anyway. Now, since these paper tubes I made is way bigger around than the igniter, so I gotta fill that in with some glue and then wait for that big glob of glue to dry. And a little tip, if you got a big cavity in the bottom like I do, once you get it filled with glue, to keep it going from up the igniter, have it sitting upright and it'll collect and create a little plug at the bottom. And just as a little demonstration, I got some of that rocket motor igniter mixture on a wire, and I'll show you guys what that looks like once it gets ignited. See, now that would probably ignite most motors by itself, but wrapping in that paper and putting some rocket fuel, powderized rocket fuel in there, will help it just burn longer and a little bit hotter. Anyways, while that dries, basically this one that I already prepared, basically you just want to fill it up. I got it in this test tube, the mixture in this little plastic test tube, just so that way it's easy to pour. You want to stop when it's, I don't know, maybe an 1/8 inch, couple of millimeters, or 10 millimeters, whatever, away from the top, So you want to fill it up, and then I'll show you guys how to crimp this at the end. Okay, now you see how this is filled. I'm gonna put this on the edge of the table and gently knock at it to vibrate the pellets, the little grains down, and we'll see just how low this will get. Okay, that went down a considerable amount, so I'm basically just going to top it off and not really even worry about vibrating this top layer, just because I'm just topping it off. Now, I don't know what you guys have, but I got this little cheap dab tool thing. I like to use the bottom of it to tamp it down a little bit more. And to seal this off, I like to take the end of it and roll this over, kind of like crimp it as much as I can. This way, go 180 out, crimp it that way, and usually I like to stick just a little bit of super glue in that crevice, so that's what I'll do now. So now there's super glue in there, I'll take and crimp over these other ends now, and gotta do this kind of fast because this is super glue. Now this one is kind of ugly on the top, but that don't really matter as long as as long as when you crimp it, the top doesn't go really any wider. I mean, it depends on what size of core your rocket is, but just to seal this off, because if we lit it, the flame would just come out the top, which could work for some rockets, but I want mine to come out the side. So real quick, I'm going to cap this with a little bit of super glue just to ensure that that won't come out the top. I've coated the top in super glue, so there's a little button of super glue on there. Now to do on this one, I'm gonna have to wait for this to dry, but I'll show you on the one I already did. This one, as you can see, I poked a fair amount of holes in the side of it, so that way, instead of it blowing up like a firecracker, it's got a bunch of little holes to have the fire spread outwards. Anyway, let me go ahead and finish these up, all of these up, and I'll make a couple extras to show you guys. Anyway, I'll get back at you guys when I'm ready to show you guys how they work. And of course I dropped it. Anyway, let's get after it. Okay, well, I got these two demonstration igniters ready. The smaller one, I poked some holes in it like I do for the ones I actually put in the rockets. And this one is just made out of the thicker wire that I was using for the first video. And this one's just bigger, so that way it's, a bigger presentation. And I didn't put any holes in it so you guys can see that firecracker effect like I was talking about. Anyway, let's go ahead and hook these up to the 12 volts of my quad, and let's go ahead and light these things on fire. Okay, I got everything hooked up. This is the small one with the holes. Let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see a little bit better. But yeah, I got the slow-mo set up and everything else. All I gotta do is turn it on and flip the switch. Anyway, in 3, 2, 1. And that is the igniter in action. That, like I say, it does a pretty good job igniting it. Anyway, let's go ahead and hook up the other one, and let's see what that one looks like. Okay, that's ready. Let me turn on the slow-mo. Make sure that's running. And 3, 2, 1. Of course it doesn't blow off. Hold on, technical difficulties. Okay everybody, I didn't really like the way that last one was. I didn't catch it on camera, so here's a freshly made one. Let me go ahead and capture this one in slow-mo as well. And yeah, let's go ahead and blow this one up. Okay, everything goes well in 3, 2, 1. Wow, see what I mean? And that is why I always try to poke the holes into the igniters, because that one basically exploded, and most of the pyrogen that was on the wires didn't even light. So that's why I go ahead and poke some holes in it. Okay everyone, well that basically wraps up this video. It was a quick, short how-to on how to make those things. Hopefully in the future I'll be able to make a better video and maybe have a better recipe for you guys. And to fulfill the promise I told you guys, what those igniters are going to, here is the My Rocket from the last video, the video before this video comes out. And I made them for 2 rockets, so if you want to see that rocket, then check out my last video. Anyway, that's about it for this video. I don't know what's coming next, but anyway, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys on the next one.